Yeah, and I don't shy away from those kind of posts typically. I've stayed away recently just because I don't want to put my mind there right now. And that's it. But yeah, he's 100% right. It's insane. I think we all can acknowledge the insanity of everything that's going on.
Can we?
Can we?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mark Loeffler Experience. We got my good friend Andrew Hines on today. He's the host of the Andrew Hines podcast. He's a regular contributor on Instagram, on YouTube. He also builds a lot of houses. He has a great hospitality business. We're going to talk all about it today. So make sure you tune in, watch the whole thing, and like and subscribe. Andrew Hines. Good to see you, man. It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
So tell me, what have you been up to since January, since I've seen you last? We didn't even talk about you, I don't think, when we last saw you. You had me in and out for your podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, life's been busy, family life. And
yeah, you had your first kid.
He's a year and a half now.
Year and a half, yeah.
So
you must be working on number 2.
Well, we're talking about number 2, and if we're crazy enough to do that, so
fair.
I feel like you kind of got to be. But yeah, like life is just filled with obviously the investments, the camp. We got a hospitality business. So being that it's summer now, everything before this point was all planning, and now it's just like height of the season.
Yeah. So you own a camp up north.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called again?
So we've got Maple Ridge Family Campground, and then we operate our glamping facility out of that location, which is called Grotto Getaway. So grottogetaway.com for anyone who wants to check it out. And we also have our new resort, Neptune's Hideaway, which sort of coming under the same umbrella. We're in the process of sort of revamping a little bit of that. We've got it listed, but we're kind of improving it.
So is that all in the same campground?
No, it's 20 minutes away. Okay. So it's also Tobermory. Yeah, it's 9 acres. So 90 acres on the camp. We got another 9 acres on the resort, but it's waterfront. Okay. So we have quite a few different angles on that one. Things we may do. There's a lot of development potential on the water there.
Yeah.
Because our zoning is like just super favorable for resort. Basically, we could just start adding cabins. With 9 acres, the setbacks are only you got 5 meters on one side, 5 meters on the other, and you can just keep adding them. So we're looking at the opportunity, figuring out what the best way to go is, and then how we're going to structure it.
So how has hospitality been for you then? Are you guys making money? Because this is year 3.
This is year 2. Yeah, we rent. It was like a year ago today, which was our first rentals on Airbnb were a year ago today, and we started off last year really focusing on the camping the way it was done by the previous owner, which was just a bit of a disaster, if I'm being blunt. If you put 25 people on one campsite, only bad things are going to happen. And so we had to realize that there was a bit of a reputation of being a party site, and we had to take this camp from being the partier's place and anything goes place to this is a quiet, well-maintained, well-managed campground. And we run, our prime focus is glamping, and then we'll also do some, nicer wild camp spots, and we have a lot of pull-through trailer sites too. So that's all still humming along. We cut back the amount of camping sites we're even offering. We completely closed group camping sites, and we actually have converted them into glamping sites. So
okay, let's talk. Yeah. So when you say glamping, so what do you do?
So, this is why I liked this property so much from the beginning when we came up with the idea, because so many businesses, you want to add units, you got to go through site plan control, surveys, all that stuff. If we want to add units, we can close down a couple of campsites. We're approved for 70, and we can open up glamping sites, which is pretty much just a deck, a 16 by 20 deck with a canvas tent on it and a bed inside. And then we decorate them really nice. And we really focus on the hospitality element. We have a good management team that makes sure everybody has a great stay. And we've added this year a ton of units. So the thing is track record, obviously. So if we have last year's listings with 25 reviews at nearly 5 stars or 5 stars. Some of them we have 25 5-star reviews.
Oh, from the glamping.
From the glamping,
that's different from the camping where they crap on you for the groups for kicking.
Yeah. So we had to kick out a lot of groups, and then of course you get a lot of hate on. But yes, the Maple Ridge brand's there. That's not really our prime focus. Of course, we want to continue to build that and improve that. And now that we're still trying to figure it out, how we price and run our business so that we don't attract partiers. Your guess is as good as mine, how to fully eliminate that problem. But we started with increasing our prices.
Yeah.
And
that usually helps.
It's going to help. So we are probably among the very top of the market for pricing on our sites. We don't have any issue with our pull-through campers. Going back to the glamping and how that works, like our last year's tents, like we already have like $15,000 in bookings on them. Like the first two that we launched, they're both like $15,000 in bookings for this year so far.
Okay, so what's a tent cost you to buy?
The tent's like $700-800. The deck was the expensive part. Last year we were like $7,000 per deck. This year we're less, so like more like $5,000.
Just lumber costs.
Yeah, lumber was the big driver. Labor was a part of it. Labor came down this year too, though. The guy gave us a better deal. Those are the big costs. Decorating them, you're going to spend $1,000-2,000 to put the mattress, the decorations, small furniture.
So call all in $10,000.
Yeah, 10. Last year we're probably up to 11. This year maybe we're a little less, 9, somewhere in that ballpark. And then there's stuff that might slip through the cracks because we have 9 employees and subcontractors that are getting pulled in different directions on site, doing they got their hand into a number of different things. So our payroll's pretty high. It's a big business to run. And
what's like your overall revenues and something like this?
We're expecting to be around 500 this year.
So you're open basically June 1st to end of September, or?
No, it's earlier than that. We bring people on site mid-April. We open up for campers this year May 12th.
Oh, so you did May 2-4.
Yeah, May 2-4, I think we had all of our tents rented. At that point, we had 7 tents open and they were all rented. So nice. People wanted to get out there and yeah, so we try and take advantage, but it's slower. Even now, like even in June during the week before school's out, no one's really camping during the week. It's the weekends.
Yeah.
Now that we come into July, that's when people start camping throughout the week. And then we are charging higher weekend prices as we get reviews on all this new product we've launched, and we can start jacking the prices on those. So we're hopeful about our numbers going through the summer.
So $500,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can answer this or not. I mean, I kind of remember what you bought it for, but not really.
It was 1.5.
1.5. So what are you in with capital improvements and everything there? And
it's hefty. We're probably in for like 2.3 at this point.
Okay, so that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Considering what I remember when you first talked and came on a podcast a long time ago, like, yeah, I think you were expecting a little more than that because you guys were wondering your model and this and that.
There was a lot we had to learn as we went, and we're still constantly learning about this, and not all the dust has settled.
Are you still refurbishing old trailers there too?
We've done some pretty cool stuff, especially this year.
I follow that on
Insta, right?
Is it Grotto Getaway that I follow, or maybe I don't remember which one
at the Grotto Getaway Glamp on Instagram. Yeah, you can see. So we did one. We're big on doing themes. We did one of our trailers, and this is one we acquired because we couldn't move it. This was one of our seasonal renters, and we told him we can't renew this year the contracts. So he's like, well, I can't get my trailer out because it was horizontal in the site, and just with the grade and stuff, I don't have no idea how they even got it there. So he must have been something like that. So anyways, he sold it to us. And last year we didn't have the time or the manpower to renovate it, but we did renovate it this spring. And we call it the shipwreck. And the outside is like a scuba diver and a shipwreck, and it's Topomori theme, obviously, because that's scuba diving paradise. And then we theme the inside and we kind of make it match the colors. So it's one of those things where we want people to come tag us, Instagram it, say, wow, look at where I just stayed in Topomori. The tents are big with that. We get people doing yoga poses and stuff and Instagramming us, and they tell their friends.
Yoga retreats yet?
We haven't done that, but I think we're primed for it. It's just if I told our management we wanted to hold a yoga retreat, I don't think they'd be too keen on that right now. Like, it's just busy. Like, we've just hired, and we've had to fire a few, just trying to find the right fit with our team. And we want to give them a break too, right? Like, so our management, they're the hospitality end, and then they've got 7 people under them that can kind of help, but they still want to be customer facing. So we're trying to find their parallel that will also handle some of that too.
Yeah.
But that's where it becomes, it's a business, right? So, we have some projections and aspirations of getting this up to, $1 million business within a couple more years.
Yeah.
And I think we can. That's the big thing. That was the big reason I liked the idea of buying it, because, businesses are evaluated on cap rates. It's a business attached to real estate.
Well, it's a multiplier of income, right? Of EBITDA, right? So,
yeah. So you can use a multiplier. You can, realtor world, a lot of them still using cap rates, but yeah, of course. Yeah. So we've got,
because you have land involved, there might be cap rate.
Yeah. So we know that there's those opportunities there, further refinances, potential equity partnerships and stuff. And we just want to, grow it, take it to the next level. Obviously, you don't want to just sit still with it.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a unique opportunity. And then you bought another 9 acres. When did that happen?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly the date that we saw it, but it was this like early spring, and which is not the best time to buy a resort where your summer is your money period. But we saw it and we looked at, just knowing what my mother-in-law's cottages do and what Jake's cottage does in Sauble. We saw 4 cottages plus a house, which will turn into effectively a cottage. And again, we just know it's not so much what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah.
And we knew that with the right process, we could turn those into very high earners, and we could add some value to that business. But more than that is there's huge opportunity with this one to sever land. There's a road that wraps around the side. So we're thinking obviously lots to sever, or we just there's an internal laneway that kind of wraps around, and we just start putting cabin on a private laneway.
Tiny home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The zoning allows it. So it's basically, and then they have water access. So, the previous owners had done like kayak rentals and things like that, but we don't have a full-time on-site presence because it just doesn't justify for the number of units.
Yeah.
But that is sort of, I think, where we would go, especially if we can add in those extra units. And again, we're just talking about going into a business, adding a whole bunch of value, and whether it's through refi or potentially divestment, we continue to grow our wealth. And, right now the plan is to grow the business, but of course, if it comes down to it, we'll sell it too.
Well, it's funny, like this morning as I was, I forget what I was doing, but I watch either Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was like 3 businesses you should know. Mm-hmm. Number 1, restaurants.
Yeah.
I own 5 of them. Number 2, hospitality.
Yeah.
You own that.
Yeah.
Number 3 was retail clothing.
Yeah. Restaurants are a tricky one. Yeah. Like that's probably an episode in itself, just talking about those, and because you're not running them, right? But you obviously see the back end, and profitability is tough with restaurants, right? Because you already have to charge huge numbers, in terms of like a menu price.
We're over 100 employees now.
100 employees between all their locations?
Between 5 locations, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, you get
huge payroll,
but issues, like people issues, right? So.
Managing people, yeah. You're not doing any direct management, right? So you're just dealing with the investor, like the operator.
Listen, I'm not supposed to manage people in my own team here. Like it's not, they say, oh yeah, go talk to somebody else for that,
Yeah. So like going back to like the hospitality thing, like I just looked at it and I saw everybody's getting into the Airbnb party, and obviously the municipalities are all shutting it down. That was not the direction I was going to go. I didn't like the fact that you can't really scale. You buy one property, then what? You're going to spend 8 months designing it, making it look good, and then refocus on the next one. How fast can you really grow at that?
Yeah.
So it was time. This was sort of an experiment in how to play big or bigger, and it's had its positives and negatives. Overall, I think we've created something really cool, and we control 90 acres, which is nice.
So if you could go back and do it again, would you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say, like, because you wouldn't have the perspective if you didn't do it, right? So I would just do it, like, because otherwise I wouldn't have learned, right? It's been more work than I wanted to put in, and I'm not the type to, if I think things need my attention, I'm not the type not to give it my attention.
Yeah.
And I'm overcompensate type of guy. So if I think things are not going well, I'll step into a larger degree. So and we've had a bit of that. We're real fortunate that we've had a good team up there, but we just still need to grow it. I think our next acquisition is for an employee is a COO, somebody that's going to just run the whole business.
Yeah.
They're going to replace us and what we do in the process.
My next hire is a CFO. So
yeah, somebody handle all the money.
Well, somebody, to pull in all the information and put it out correctly to everybody, right? So,
yeah, you need somebody sort of like passing the ball. And I think a lot of what we have would fall out of an operationals officer's duties and obligations, but they're going to wear a lot of hats early on. And then slowly as you grow, you add in more people to kind of wear those different hats.
Well, I mean, that's small business for you, right?
Yeah.
Like if you think you're going to be just something In a small business, that's never going to be the case, right? You're going to be a dishwasher. You're going to be, next day you're going to be an arborist. Like, it just depends, right? Like,
well, and that's like our managers, like they're doing hospitality. They're cutting down tree branches. They're, picking up garbage if they need to, right? They do it all. And then everybody on our site's like that. But I mean, on the ownership group, Zach does a lot of the Airbnb back end, and we have help. We have our assistants in there helping us. It's just like there's certain stuff where we don't feel totally comfortable delegating it. Like I'm the financial controller. I oversee our bookkeeper, and holy crap, man, there's a lot going on. And we all do a lot of other stuff too. Yeah. So it just...
Well, let's talk about that. So are you still, because you were managing builds for other people in Ontario?
Yeah, so I have a general contracting company, and we do new construction for developers, primarily one developer right now. And I actually, for that, I would have, my head would have popped off if I hadn't hired an operational manager for that. So I sort of have my COO for that company, and I lost the site super recently. So he's sort of kind of stepping into that role, and kind of so a 50-50 between site supervision and then project management on this project, kind of just handling everything. Yeah. All the things I used to do, looking over budgets, quoting, all that, I don't really directly do any of it anymore. I am certainly involved. We have, weekly powwows and daily, mini powwows, going over stuff. But the biggest thing and the biggest change in my life since my son has come into the picture is just hire. Like, just keep hiring. Yeah. Good people, right? Hire fast, fire fast. Yep. If they're not good, move on to the next one.
For sure.
And there's still some refinement to be done, but it's going pretty good.
There's always refinement.
Yeah.
Like, it can be perfect one day, and that model changes overnight, and the next day it's like, oh, this is trash. We need to pivot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and we'll look at it and say, like, with the hospitality and what we're doing, is this what we want to grow? Well, if we build out the people and the systems, then now we're equipped, right? If we've spent the time to learn what we didn't know and learn what it's like to run this business, now we're equipped to put the pieces in place so that we're not running it and that we can grow it.
For sure.
I think it might have been a little premature to buy a second location, but I mean, we saw something that looked like a pretty good deal. So
if it's a good deal and it's 5 more units, then, and it's close, you can have some of your existing staff do some maintenance over there. Yeah. And like, it's a little easier, like to,
Well, we thought that, but I mean, our management's just so at capacity right now that they don't have the time right now to do that. So we're bringing in contractors and stuff, and we're making it happen. But yeah, that was the original thought. Like, maybe we can have our existing team. That's why we've wanted to overhire, so we could hopefully pull some of them over, which we're still trying to do. Yeah, we've got another one starting next week.
Well, because so I mean, let's talk about this hiring, because it's a smaller town. Mm-hmm. So like, where are you attracting talent there?
We're posting for like GTA. So we're actually giving people a place to live up there. Okay. So we have extra trailers. So some of the trailers we bought in the transition when the seasonal people were leaving, we're just making them available for our employee accommodations. So we spoke to our friend Hussein and got some employment contracts that kind of offered a license to occupy trailers while they're employed. So if they're employed, they have a license to occupy a trailer. Okay. And that keeps us out of the RTA and allows us to feel comfortable bringing in these employees and giving them a spot. And so far, so good. I think that allows us to get people in that are going to work for a pretty reasonable wage. But as you said, small area, anything that's available up there is on Airbnb pretty much. So there aren't employee accommodations there. And one of, again, our key advantages with the camp is we can put people up.
Yeah. And is it limited to 70 sites total?
That's what the municipal bylaw has on record. So the zoning doesn't even allow that. That was just like a grandfathered in. That was like a grandfathered use from the municipality. We have like the email that says you guys are ready to, you're good for 70.
And that's 70 rental sites, or is that?
That's 70 campsites as they define it. Okay. Yeah. So which we don't even really want to press it to that. Like, probably by the time the season's done, we'll have like 26 glamping sites.
Glamping sites.
Glamping sites, and then we'll have...
Pull through how many just regular
We'll pull through, we'll still have like probably 20 operational, and then we'll have another 10 sites operational.
So you're like maybe 55.
Yeah, so we're not trying to push it. We don't want high traffic through the site, because we've had that. We had like last year, you get toilet paper flushed down the toilets, and like, all of your paper towel rolls are gone because people take them to their individual sites. We just wanted to get rid of that high traffic, high stress kind of environment and bring it down to a, tight knit, which is sort of what we have. And, I think it shows in our management. I think overall they're feeling a lot better this year, because last year was crazy.
We burnt them out.
We burnt them out a bit. Yeah. It was hard. And we had to throw everyone we had. I had, my employee working down in Sarnia. I was sending them up there on the weekends to go help out.
Yeah.
So, we had to come up with creative solutions.
So you got that going, 2 sites up there. How many building sites do you have currently rolling right now?
For general contracting?
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on a 29 lot build.
Okay.
So we've
Town
got
homes or...
production homes.
Okay.
Yeah, not towns. I wish it was towns. Towns is easy. Yeah. I love towns. No, these are production builds for end use buyers. So, lots of...
And that's in Sarnia? Or?
It's, Blue Point.
Okay.
Yeah, so working through that. It's been a huge process. So we have permits on 3 right now. The rest is in the sales process. So those will just keep trickling in as they sell.
I was going to say, are they spec or pre-sold?
They're pre-sold, yeah. Pre-sold.
So once they get an order, then they pick out their thing and you go build it.
Yeah. So what we've been doing a lot of is like helping build out the sales, program and all that. And, you can imagine how grand a task that is.
Yeah.
So I had many moments where I was just like, okay, I'm ready to cancel my involvement there.
Yeah.
Because I have other stuff going on. But that's when I brought in Jeremy onto my team, and he sort of handled all the back end of that. And, we together kind of helped go through that. The Florida stuff is so much better in the sense that I don't.
I was just gonna move on to Florida, but I wanted to make a point before that, is that I have a business mentor, and he says if you're feeling stress in your business, you're either missing a person or missing a system.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? Like, and if you're procrastinating on something, that's true as well.
Yeah,
I'd say my biggest single point of procrastination is on the financial control side, because I won't hand that off yet. I haven't yet figured a way to feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So I have my assistant put together my payables and give me she gives me a chart of everyone to pay how much, all this, and I send her the confirmations. But I still dread that time. I hate that.
Yeah. So I have so they send me that and I okay it, but they go ahead.
They go ahead and pay it. See, then for her to go ahead and pay it would be, and this is what I wanted. This is the next step, is then me say, okay, go pay it.
Yeah.
So I can double check, because a lot of it's cash flow control, especially in June. It's like seasonal business, worst time of the year, right? Like we've spent, added all these units, and now
you're only getting weekend revenue.
Only getting weekend revenue to this point, and now it's finally going to kick in. So July will help, improve the cash position, and then through, and September, October being the height of our cash position. Yeah, so got to plan and manage all that. But yes, like you're saying, you get the chart, shows what's payable. I love that chart. It helps me, keep very organized in my thoughts, who I haven't paid, who I need to pay, all that stuff. But I don't like paying. I'd rather somebody else. So I got to figure that part out.
I don't mind paying as long as it's not the government.
Yeah, as long as it's not them.
Yeah.
I still get anything. I go with a credit card. I'm like, Jane, please pay this. Like,
yeah.
I don't even want to type that in. It feels better if you do it.
All right, let's talk Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. So Florida's been a bit of a roller coaster, but in a way that really didn't take up much of my time. So as you know, I bought all those lots. Market kept coming down. So I just figured, you know what? Any lot I have, I'll just list it for sale. If I get an offer I like, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'll just build it.
Because the original, the lot.
Yeah.
So you were just selling the lot.
I did sell a couple of lots just as lots.
Okay.
Because when the interest rates kept going up, I'm borrowing money. So I'm like, well, it's costing me money to hold these. Let's just liquidate a couple. I'll use that cash towards builds.
And so you made money on obviously selling a lot.
One of them I made like $9,000 on. Another one I lost $2,000. But most importantly, it freed up capital that I could just use. So that wasn't obviously the plan.
Because the original plan was build 2, keep 1.
Yeah, right? Basically. So that's what I did. I had first one sold. Second one was going to keep early on when I was making the plans to do it. So I kind of built it that way. But then I kind of ran through. I sat down with our mutual friend John Bianchi.
Yep.
And we went through the numbers and kind of the scenario. And yes, it could work, but I'd have to absolutely smash to hit numbers that would make sense to me. And I just thought, you know what? There's other places I would do Airbnb before this.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I figured, whatever. If I need to, I will, but I'll plan to sell it. So that one I got an offer on actually just last night.
Oh, nice.
And then, so location 1 and location 3, location 1 sold. closed. Location 3 is sold, not closed, not even done yet, actually. We're still waiting for the pool cage, but they bought it without it before it was done.
Yeah.
So we're just delaying the inspection until we're done so that they can close. And then location 2 offer on it. So we're just going back and forth. I countered there. So, and then I got 5 more lots sitting waiting for me. So.
And so good money, like you making money down there? Like
first one would have made money, would have. If I didn't need $40,000 in extra sand fill, the lot was too low, which was something that could have been seen through the photographs. And but I bought these lots sight unseen with my realtor, and somehow he missed it. Usually he does walk the lots. Somehow he didn't notice that it looked a little low. So, but the other ones, we haven't had that issue. So we're looking at about 60, 70 profit on the other ones. I mean, on paper, like as far as my US filings go, I'll show like 15 grand in profit on that first one. Yeah. But I've borrowed money in Canada, and you know, by the time I work that out, it's pretty much nil.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I look at that as, I'm not going to cry about it. It's just part of business. Not everything makes money.
You know, the first one too, right?
Yeah.
Like you break even or make a little bit. Like it's okay. I learned this.
You learn some things. You know, figure out, are we going to adjust the models we offer? Where are we going to offer certain models? I mean, with the model I built that I'm just going back and forth on the offer right now, there was no precedent for that one. Like I was going to keep it as an Airbnb. It was bigger than anything in the area. I did the hot tub that overflows into the pool, which most people don't do. So it was kind of over improved for the area. It was a luxury product for the area. So didn't know what we could realistically get for that. And it probably cost me an extra 50 or 60 to build over, you know, the model I built on the other 2 lots. So it was just kind of, hey, let's give this a try.
And it's worked out.
It seems to be, yeah. I mean, I'm easily getting much more. I'm selling it for like 75 more than the other ones. So it should be more profitable. So that was a test. It was, you know, I had to go on basically an educated guess of what was possible. But I think the biggest hurdle is in the area I'm in, no one's really searching with a filter above 600,000. So they might not know it's there. And on one of the common feedbacks I get is like, oh, we love it, but we just, you know, we wish it was closer to downtown, because this type of buyer is typically more further south.
Yeah.
So fortunately, finally we found the guy who loves the location, wants it. I knew that would eventually happen. What, you know, if I'm thinking, what would I rather build? I'd rather build right in the pocket of where most buyers have affordability, right? I want the lower cost, which is why I'm in Cape Coral in the first place.
Okay.
You know, if I'm selling a beautiful high-end home, well, relatively high-end, 2,130 square feet, 4 bed, 3 bath, pool with hot tub overflowing, 3-car garage. That's a nice place. It pains me to sell it. For 620 list.
Yeah.
Like that's a good deal by Canada standards. Now, of course, you apply the currency conversion. It's, you know, it's going to be in the 800 range, right? Is it $1 million? No, not that much. It'd be like 800.
1.3.
Well, if it's 6, so you're saying, the equivalent. Here, where are you going to find that? Yeah. Like, it doesn't even exist, really.
Even just the currency conversion on 1.3 on 600 is 9 something. So yeah. So like, it's quite a bit different. I think just in Canada, you're not, first off, where are you going to find an 80-foot wide lot anymore to build new construction on, to do a 3-car garage, a 3-car garage alone, like a pool, like, you know, that's a luxury in Canada that not many people bother with. Whereas down there, it's a definite premium. Like, not having a pool means you're getting less for your home. In Canada, it's pool is like, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Yeah, it doesn't add value.
It doesn't add.
Yeah, unless you have like a huge lot, then you kind of.
Yeah.
But
there's certain circumstances where
I was on a 100 by 200 foot lot, and if it didn't have a pool, it looks silly.
It'd be a little bit. Yeah, it'd be weird. That's a big lot.
You have the pool, and then you have this big backyard with it, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. So I really like the opportunity down there. It's a little wonky right now because it takes time for the market to realize how much building costs have increased. So there was this glory period there where, like, in the middle of my first build, or early on in the planning, right before we broke ground, we were looking at potentially being able to sell the first one for close to 600. Ended up selling it for closer to 500, 515. So that was another big thing. Like, there were dollar signs in my eyes at one point on these lots, and it was like the market had gone up, and then we had the correction. Same one Ontario had. Yeah. Just not as bad. So now it's started coming back up.
Yeah. And so many people are moving to Florida.
Yeah. Well, in that area specifically, your Southwest, it doesn't really get any cheaper than that for something so close to water. In Southwest Florida, below the frost line. So I really like that. And I mean, obviously the politics in the state are attractive to a lot of people.
Well, so question. I mean, I didn't think you'd be in Canada now.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for my son coming into the picture, I probably would have changed things. Maybe we would have relocated. We were going through the visa process, and we kind of just put a pin in it. Not to say that I wouldn't be open to going back down there and actually, spending 6 months plus a year.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't been a priority. Kind of focusing on how to raise a 1.5-year-old is on my mind.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I could put in the works, though. I just don't think it's necessary. It's not needed. But, the crazier taxation gets here and the politics get here in Canada, probably the more motivation I'll have to not
just move everything offshore to Bahamas and
maybe.
And then the Bahamas company owns everything.
Could do something like that. You'll have to coach me on that, Mark, if there's a way. But
it's not me. Talk to Mike Rosard or Nomad Capitalist.
Yeah. Nomad Capitalist is, Mike's I know looking into that kind of thing. So But I mean, obviously, there's an advantage. You go to Florida, and you're no state income tax. Obviously, property taxes are higher; they're a little silly. But if you're only paying the federal tax, then you're 39% is the top, or 37, something like that.
Even in a corp,
a corp is different. Yeah, I think your corp you're like 22% or something like that. It's higher in the corp, but with my structure, it would more be considered personal, especially if you use an LLC. Most people down there, they'll use an LLC, which they use as a flow through.
Okay.
So it just protects them from liability, but then they get, the no state income tax, and your top income bracket's more like 500,000, right? Not like Canada where you're making 120, you're in the top.
Yeah.
It's very different from a tier of taxation.
500,000, but they're buying $600,000 homes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Affordability wise, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So do I think Florida for growth of a rental portfolio? Probably not. I think I'll probably pick another state for that. But for what I'm doing, I think Florida works well.
So what states are you looking at for that?
I mean, obviously Texas is a consideration. It's very preliminary. I've invested in Ohio before. I know the laws there are very friendly to landlords. So pretty much, any of your red states are going to be more friendly to landlords. So obviously that's a first criteria. But no matter what you do, you're pretty much doing better than Ontario. Even in New York State, I know investors there, and that's it's conservative comparatively. So same with California, right? Thomas Larini, he likes California.
He just had that controversial post, I guess, that he made about Toronto going more left wing with the mayor. And I don't shy away from those kind of posts typically. I've stayed away recently just because I don't want to put my mind there right now. And that's it. But yeah, he's 100% right. It's insane. I think we all can acknowledge the insanity of everything that's going on. Can we?
I don't fear
hold on. Are we allowed?
Are we allowed? See, I don't even care about that. I've been attacked. I've been attacked for it. My main reason for stopping it, I don't ever want everyone to think that was because, people didn't like what I was saying. Actually, I found abundantly people flocked to what I was saying and said, "Oh, thank God you're saying this." I just what am I doing with what I'm saying? Is it helping anybody?
Yeah.
Or is it depressing them? That was what I wanted to stay away from. I don't want to depress myself or anybody else with what I say. And what Thomas is saying is a little depressing for people who are here, but maybe it's motivating too. Maybe it makes them consider maybe we need to change. For a long time, I thought that was what the outcome would be of what I was saying. Maybe it would motivate people to stand up and talk.
I think the issue is, if we're going to get down that rabbit hole, is that most people don't perceive that they can change or move.
Yeah, they think that they don't have an impact.
The average person, let's call it average person, doesn't think that they're stuck in this, not ideal, but this.
What can I change?
What can I change? Yeah. Or, if I'm not moving, I can't move because of this, and this, right? Or, I hear it all the time. Okay, why don't you go invest in Ohio? Why don't you go invest in Alberta? Why don't you go build houses in Florida? Well, I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a mysticism, right? That you have to demystify.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't attempt to change political situations. I think, it makes more sense to change your own situation so that you're not a victim of circumstance.
I agree.
That's all you could do.
I mean, it's if you choose to be poor.
Yeah, it's a victim mentality. That's the a cancer in today's society is victim mentality. Don't be a victim. Like you're not a victim. Bad things happen to everybody.
It's so
It's
funny.
what you do with it.
Whenever I do a reel about like the
Yeah.
landlord-tenant board or something like that, just like the comments
Oh yeah,
on there.
The trolls are insane.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea the landlord hate was even a thing until a few reels I posted recently kind of went like micro viral, and then the trolls come out.
Well, so what does the future hold? What's Andrew doing? Like, what's the future hold? You're buying businesses. You're building real estate.
Yeah, it's bigger. Yeah, I mean, like my patience for small stuff, for playing small, is just not there, right? I mean, I think that's the perspective growing a family can do, is you just realize your limitations. And I have no interest in doing a duplex conversion anymore. I've kind of gotten myself out of all my small stuff.
You've sold everything.
I've sold everything except, and I even sell these flips, so I have my hospitality business. I got my Florida operation, and now it's a canvas that can be painted. So, it'll be larger developments, larger acquisitions, and multi. I mean, I'm a value add guy, so I'll probably never really get away from that.
Would you build like new rentals here or new rentals somewhere?
Ontario is probably something I'll just generally avoid. Canada also. Not that I'm not opposed. I'll still buy here, but it's not like I'm actively looking to buy here. If the deal presents itself and it makes sense, then who am I to say no?
Oh, it's so funny. I'm looking at a deal in Hamilton right now, and I don't know if this is just common in some multifamilies, but it feels like the realtor doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They sent me numbers that I know aren't accurate.
Yeah.
Like, so it's 330,000 gross, and they're like, oh, our net is 197. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, based on your asking price, you're a 2% cap.
They wouldn't know.
Well, it's just over a 2% cap if you do this and that. And I'm like, well, no, you gave me the numbers. I'm going on your numbers. That is Plus, you haven't had vacancy. You have property management in there. Oh, well, there's lots of opportunity. I'm like, well, like, would your seller hold a significant VTB? Because I'll buy it if you hold a 1% VTB interest only. Like, what's more important, the price or cash, right? So,
yeah. Well, and I think that's obviously pretty common out there, like realtors who are not maybe fully educated, but in multifamily, it's less so. That's surprising to see.
I think maybe the seller went to a bunch of multifamily realtors and they got told that.
No, so they found somebody that finally said,
it's worth $3 million less than what you want.
Yeah. Why were you even talking to them after that overpriced?
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
Hey, listen, if they'll hold financing at 1%.
Yeah, for 30 years.
for 5 to 6 years or whatever. But I don't know.
Imagine, though, if you got like a 30-year amortized 1%, 2%.
Interest only, 5-year.
Yeah, that's okay, too. I'd lock in a VTB at 30 years, a 30-year term amortized.
I mean, if they would do that, they won't do that because obviously they have tax implications that.
Each year they're going to be getting a certain
5
portion.
years, right? So they can only do it for 5 years.
Oh, they can only do a 5-year, and then after that,
they've paid their capital gains. So it's only really good for them for 5 years.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they probably won't want to do it otherwise.
Yeah, unless you just don't talk to their accountant and they're like too smart and know everything.
Plenty don't.
That's true.
I mean, these ones seem like the type that might not have.
That's fair. I mean, they bought a good asset at one point. It's a good asset. It's just a matter of
Yeah, I mean, if you get to the ones that no one's talking to them, maybe they're willing, especially if you catch them right as they're about to do a big price drop, and then you just give them an out.
Yeah,
that's how deals are made.
Oh yeah,
there are deals that happen there. So
I like it's maybe just being communication and you never know, right?
Hey, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Well, that's 100%. So maybe I throw in an offer.
Just keep asking. Do 5 of those a day. Some of them are going to hit.
Well, who was it? Somebody on social media the other day was like, if you've only put in 2 or 3 offers and then you tell me there's nothing there for you to buy, like
you're just not active
you're just not working. Like we just did a deal in Hamilton on a 4-unit, and the price was 125. They had dropped the price to 115. We had it accepted at $1,015,000, and then we dropped the price another $25,000.
Yeah, you just renegotiated,
and we just kept. And now it's $990 for a 4-plex in a really good location in Hamilton.
Yeah,
and it cash flows at today's numbers.
Yeah, you made the deal.
Yeah,
that's the key. So I think for me, just with Canada, your 5-year mortgage terms are a bit of a ticking time bomb, which a lot of people are going to kind of figure out. So I'm keen on, sure, if there's a deal here, I'll take it. I'm not opposed. I know there's money to be made here. No argument.
1.2 million people came in here last year.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
They're going to live somewhere.
They are. Yeah, that's the thing.
They'll rent for me. I don't mind.
That's the thing. Like, you have the socialist policies on the tenant side that are very tenant friendly. And then you have the high interest rates, which are both kind of catalysts to maybe make people not want to invest here. But then you have the immigration side just that's going to drive prices up. It has to. I guess it's a competing force, right? It's like, what's the impact of the interest rates versus the impact of the immigration? And we land somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. It's not a 2% cap right now.
No, 2% cap is a little silly, and I don't even want to bother entertaining stuff like that.
Well, I sold my stuff in Hamilton. It was all a sub 3 cap.
Yeah,
That's
great.
At a sub 3 cap.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different world though. With interest rates are up, then cap rates are up typically.
A different world than we were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's true.
You ever watch that movie Draft Day?
No.
Oh, you got to watch it. Kevin Costner. It's a good one. All right. Well, anything else you want to leave everybody else with before we cut it off? Yeah,
I mean, I would just say to the point that you made before, people mystify things, think that it's out of their control. Demystify stuff. If other people have done it, you could do it. Like, there's no one. Generally speaking, IQs are within a range that it doesn't really make that much of a difference. It's the action you take.
Well, I liken it to this. Ed Sheeran got sued for one of his songs, right?
Because of the pattern of chords.
The pattern of chords. Yeah. And so he came into court
and played all the songs
with the same chord. It was like 100 songs, and he just kept playing it.
Yeah.
And they copied it off someone else.
Yeah.
Like, this is all just the chord. Like, you play this chord. And it's the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
Someone's gone there and done it before you. It's been profitable, unprofitable, what it is.
Yeah.
But everybody can do it if you choose to, and you go and you learn and you
can. It might, your personality fit might not be there. It might not be within your comfort zone. So you have to do what's true to you. But I mean, as a matter of like input equals output, generally speaking, it should. I mean, market fluctuations and set aside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anybody can be wealthy.
Yeah.
That's just my thinking. And like, you go back to like Cash Flow 101 with Robert Kiyosaki, it was the people who earned less that got free quicker because they had lower expenses.
Yeah.
So it's like the FIRE movement. If you really want to do that.
Yeah. It's like, just like sacrifices, right? Yeah. You, again, demystify it, stop making excuses. Yeah. Like acknowledge your excuses and try and stop doing that. Stop making them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening and watching. If you want to check out Andrew, it's the Andrew Hines podcast, and hit him up on Instagram. We'll put all his links down below as well. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man.